Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next YouTube video. This is going to be another Korra news update video. So yes, this is 3 days in a row now that I've put up one of these videos. News has just been coming out. I've been a bit delayed in covering it for the site because of the issues that the site's been having, but all of that seems to be resolved now. The site's back up and running full speed as far as I can tell, so it should be no problem with the podcast tomorrow onwards. All seems to be fixed, so I'll just get straight into the news. Two pieces of news today, once again, and yeah, we've got our first episode descriptions, like via TV guides and stuff like that. They come from MSN this time around. I'm just going to read them out, talk about them. So, Rebel Spirits episode description is: Korra struggles to find a deeper connection to the spirit world. The Southern Lights description is: Korra and Chief Unalaq find a source of great spiritual power. Civil Wars Part 1. Korra tries to remain neutral as tensions flare between the northern and southern water tribes. Civil Wars Part 2. Korra must fight for her parents' freedom when they are wrongfully arrested. So, some interesting stuff here. The Rebel Spirits one is effectively, typical episode 1 intro description. Like, that's her character arc. She's struggling to find a deeper connection to the spirit world. That's what she's going to have to do in this book. The Southern Lights one is more interesting, and I think places a few clips that we've seen before. Korra and Chief Unalaq, they find a source of great spiritual power, which I think is clearly, from some of the really early clips we saw, Korra in like a kind of tundra place, in a kind of ice cave. She sees the light that we've seen the concept art of. I think that's what it is, and that's going to play a big role in the story of why the spirits are like invading the human world. I think that's going to be important. Civil Wars Part 1. Interesting that Korra is going to try and remain neutral in the northern and southern water tribe conflict. When obviously she's from the southern tribe, but as the Avatar she has to keep balance between the two, even though she would kind of have to not just be loyal to her own tribe. So that's going to be an interesting kind of conflict for her, because she kind of dealt with a similar issue, I think, in book 1, when she had to at the same time be the Avatar to the Benders but also to the non-Benders, which she may not have as much of a connection to since she doesn't know what it is to be a non-Bender, though she kind of has a little bit of experience in the end getting her bending taken away. So that's going to be interesting for her development as the Avatar. And then Civil Wars Part 2, fight for her parents' freedom when they were wrongfully arrested. So Senna and Tonrock get arrested at some point in this war. Obviously, I'd say under Unalaq's orders, because he's the chief of the northern and southern tribe. So despite Tonrock basically being the south's leader while Unalaq's up in the north, he still kind of can be arrested by the actual chief of the southern tribe. So that's going to be an interesting one, and see how it kind of plays a role. It's interesting that the descriptions don't mention spirits for Civil War Parts 1 and 2, which really leads me to believe that the spirits are actually going to come into play later on. That, okay, they play a role in probably the first 2 episodes, but then they kind of come back after this Civil War thing or something like that. Maybe the Civil War is to give the spirits time to build up energy and arrive in the human world in full force. So there's some pretty interesting stuff, I think, here. And then obviously the next episode is going to be Peacekeepers. We don't have a description on that yet. I assume, since we have the first 4 here, that we'll probably get Peacekeepers episode description like next week. So that's interesting. But yeah, that's all that's there. The second piece of news, and final piece of news, is that Korra Nation is actually starting up again. There's going to be a new phase, which means that what they're going to be doing is resetting the points to 0. There's going to be some new prizes up for grabs, and also, most importantly, I think, they'll actually start to do the coronation thing again, where they actually put out exclusive, never before seen artwork on their Tumblr page, like we had for book 1. Now, while this is great, I think it's just about 6 months too late. This is the sort of information we needed like 5-6 months ago, when we were desperate for anything. So them starting up like less than 2 weeks before the 12. It's starting tomorrow, Sunday. They're putting out, I think, their first piece of kind of concept art and opening this all up. They needed to. What's the point of starting it 2 weeks before the show starts when everyone's already excited? We've had the trailers and all this sort of stuff. This concept art would have been amazing 6 months ago. And I've talked before when the first few coronation phases were out there about how I really think it's a bad system because, one, as far as I know, well, the first, I think 4 or 5 phases were US only. If you weren't from America, you couldn't actually get any of the prizes in terms of them shipping it out to you if you won. I was lucky that Jordan, the admin of Avatar The Last Airbender Online, let me ship the posters I won to him, and then he shipped them to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got them even though I won them, because I'm from Ireland. Not only that, but it's completely dependent on how popular you are online, given the way the system works. You get links, you spread them out, and if you're popular online, people will click them and stuff like that. So I think it's a really bad system in that it promotes spamming places full of these links. I'd much rather they kind of just have, okay, if you're a member of Coronation, you're automatically signed up and have a chance to win like one of these 400 prizes or something like that. I think that's a much fairer way to do it. Or if you want to keep this system going, put like say 100 prizes up for top points and then 100 prizes up for random people, because there are some people out there who just won't have a chance to win. I was super lucky that I kind of won the posters that I did because I've probably told this story a few times before, but I'll tell it now just to kind of give an example of the popularity thing. Is that when Coronation first started, I'm pretty sure Avatar The Last Airbender Online was one of the first sites to get notification of this. Now, we had this thing going on the site at that point. I think it was like it was, I can't remember the exact date. We're celebrating some anniversary of Avatar. I think it was an anniversary of it beginning, like like 6th or 7th anniversary of Avatar beginning. Nick heard about the celebration we were doing on the site, and they emailed Jordan, basically telling him that like you're one of the first people to get notification about this new coronation thing that they're starting. So he got one of the first coronation links out there. So a lot of people signed up from there because he was one of the first people, which meant that's why Jordan basically won. I think he came first in the like phase 1 at least, and I think he did pretty well in phase 2 as well. Since I was there on the site at the time when he immediately put up the post, I was also one of the first people to get one of these links as well, and that's why I got my points, even though I ended up like just barely scraping into the kind of poster winning kind of territory. So it was there's an example of like it being just completely around popularity online. Like if you're popular on Tumblr, you have a better chance of winning a coronation prize, stuff like that. And especially now that I think the whole fandom has just gotten more social media presence, Tumblr in terms of Avatar core stuff has just taken off, and so on. It's going to be even more difficult now. Even I think maybe some of the popular people are going to struggle because so many people are up to date with everything. This isn't going to be a surprise or anything like that this coronation thing is happening. Like everyone's going to know, everyone's going to be going for it, and that's why I think it's just a really terrible system, this points thing. If they're going to just base every single prize on this, every single sort of prize that you can win on this. Like especially if it's like exclusive merchandise that's not going to be available in stores or anything like that. It's just pretty bad. I'm glad they're resetting the points and they're not just kind of doing what they did for like the first like 3 phases where they just kept it going on. When like there was, I think at the end of phase like 2 or 3, there's some person like 500,000 points ahead, and the next phase was also up for grabs, the person with the top amount of points. So it's just the way they're running it. It's not the best. I'm glad they're bringing back the info things, because they're going to be fun to see. We'll probably get some of the stuff that will be in the book 2 art book. But again, it's a few months too late, I think, because I think I've talked before about how much potential I think Coronation has, because Nickelodeon as a company TV channel, they have to advertise all of their shows. So then, like, basically, Nickelodeon will never be the most popular Avatar fan site because they're focused on so many other stuff. Which means that's why individual fan sites about TV shows are pretty popular, because they're focused on that one thing. With Coronation, I think they have the potential to have this official source of news that can really get in touch with the fans. And they've done little bits and pieces that's worked out well. I think the distribution of concept art every few days for book 1 was good, and if they did it again, all the better. But the problem is that, look at this wait between book 1 and book 2. Coronation's presence has been shocking up to about a month or two ago, where they actually started linking some of these trailers, and like they were the kind of source of some of this like stuff. But again, it's not Coronation exclusive stuff. This is just linking stuff from Nick.com. That's the thing. Like, Coronation really should be this sort of thing where it's not IGN who have all the news, all this exclusive stuff. It's not Wired.com or all this stuff. Coronation should be the one to have all this stuff. Like look at Star Wars. They have StarWars.com as their site. If something big is announced, you're going to get it on StarWars.com. There's all this leaks and all this sort of stuff, speculation from other places, but you always know that stuff that goes up on StarWars.com is new information. And I think Avatar's gotten to the point now where it's such a big universe that they could actually use something like that. And so I hope they do expand out Coronation and keep it there. Like, if book 2 ends and then Coronation just stops again, that's going to be so disappointing. But I've gone on too long already. Thanks for watching this video, and bye.